Hello everybody, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel, and I am coming at you with another awesome dark spread for Samhain. This is the one I wanted to do on the day of Halloween or Samhain. This is actually going to be a video response to DaniMystic, who put her version, or not her version, but she put her doing this spread on her channel, and I thought it was really powerful and neat because it's a spread that's designed to be a conversation with your shadow self. So as opposed to necessarily just sort of looking at your shadows as separate entities, well, I'm not saying it right, but it just sounded to me like a really great way to have a conversation. And I've done this before with sort of creating a space where I can have a conversation with, say, my inner critic. I have done this before in other types of my personal work, and I thought it would be neat to have a conversation with my shadow self. So I'm going to film this, and if it gets all crazy personal, then I'm just not going to upload it. But if it's all right and it feels safe and so forth, then I will go ahead and put this up. You're more than welcome to do your version of this as well in private, obviously, or in public if you want to make a video. I will link DaniMystic's video down below where she posts the original spread and all the questions. But I am going to jump right into it. So this week I'm working with the Bohemian Gothic Tarot, which is really, really beautiful, and it's been really punchy for me this week. So far so good. The images aren't necessarily giving me the familiar meanings that I'm used to, but they've definitely been talking to me, which is really good, and I think that'll work well for this spread, and I think it's a good deck to use in this context. So looking at darker concepts. So I'm going to be having a conversation, I'm moving my spread cloth here, having a conversation with my shadow self. So the first question is, and I don't know if I'm going to have room to spread this out because this is one of my smaller cloths, so I might have to stack things on top of each other. We'll just see how it goes. But the first question is, who are you? Who are you? So I'm going to set these cards over here on the box so I have space. Who are you? The Two of Pentacles. And I read this as my shadow self is that part of me that is constantly juggling my own needs with the needs of others and trying to find that healthy balance. Often I find that I tip too far one way or the other, either over-focusing on myself and my problems or my interests, or over-focusing on the needs and desires of the people around me. So that's what really jumps out at me when I pull this card. My phone keeps falling asleep, and that's where the image is. There we go. So this one goes at the very top. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to have room, so I'm going to be stacking. So the next question is, what do you need to tell me? So assuming that this is representative of my shadow self, what does my shadow self need to tell me today? The Ace of Cups. And the first thing that pops out at me, of course, is that my shadow self is letting me know that I have many blessings, both internal and external. I have this font of wisdom and knowledge and love and emotion inside of me that I can draw from when I'm feeling depleted. And I can also lean on the people around me and really allow there to be space for that to happen, for that exchange of energy to happen. And I think sometimes it's easy when we are people who like to focus on others, we forget that when we only focus on pleasing or helping somebody else, we deny the people in our lives the opportunity to be there for us too, if that makes any sense. Like, let's say you have two really giving people in a relationship and one is always taking over all the giving roles. Well, then you're not leaving space for the other person to also give. So that's what that makes me think of. I'm just going to cover right up my I kind of want her little face to be visible. There we go. Oh, I threw my phone, and that's where all the meanings are, so bear with me. Okay, there we go. All right, so, I did put that in the right spot. Oh, good. The next one is, what have I been missing? What have I been missing? Oh, interesting. Okay. The Five of Swords. I think I know what this is about. I have a problem with handling failure, perceived failure or otherwise. Something doesn't work out according to plan. I have a tendency to cling to that change or what didn't work out, and it has a tendency to really stop me in my tracks. I freeze. So this girl here is in that like sort of fight, flight, or freeze mode, and she's freezing. And that's sort of me in those moments. Like I hesitate and I maybe step away from things I even really enjoy because I perceive that like I can't anymore. Like I've had something's not gone according to plan. Something wasn't as well received maybe as I thought it would be, and then I kind of stop myself. And I frequently forget how habitual this is. And I think that is something that my shadow self is like, hey, don't forget you have a tendency to do this thing. Make sure that you're looking at it so that you can really move with it instead of pretending it's not happening. I think that can be really powerful. Okay, our next position here. How have I been ignoring you? Ooh, I feel like this is going to totally call me out. Let's just see. The Page of Cups. Holy cow! This card is totally my stalker card, like throughout my entire life. And Page of Cups is a card that I really identify with in a lot of ways. This is the person who is got rose-colored glasses and is sure that everybody has their best interest at heart. And so the way that I ignore my shadow self is when I get that rose-colored glasses and I think, oh, everything's good. Like everything's fine. I don't need to work on anything. It's all good. And I get a little bit complacent and I get a little bit mindless, and then things start to really Okay, hold on. Peggy is literally in the background having such an I told you so moment right now.
I'm laughing.
Like
I'm
in the most loving way ever, but trust me, like she knows me so well. Anyway, so yeah, this is very much the rose-colored glasses card. Could not be more poignant in that position. So spot on, Bohemian Gothic. Well done. Okay. The next question is, am I putting it in the right position? Oh, totally not. Okay, so this was card 1, card 2. Card 3 is in the right position, and card 4 is in the right position. Oh, I can spread these out a little. Look at that. So I'm not as cramped as I thought I was. I know these probably aren't showing up as awesome on camera because my spread cloth is darker. I should have grabbed a lighter one, but it's so witchy and I like it. It looks like incense smoke or witchy smoke, and I just love it. Okay, anyway. Okay, so next question. So this is question number 5. And it is, do you need something from me? If so, what? And this one is going to go up here. Oh, strength. This card is nailing every single like position, every single meaning. Strength is one of my birth cards, and it is definitely something where I forget how much inner strength that I have. And so my shadow self is calling to me and being like, hey, Chicky Poo, like, you need to remember how much resource and strength you really have and draw on that when you start to feel depleted or when you stop paying attention. And remember that looking at the difficult stuff, which is when I get really la fingers in my ears, like with the Page of Cups, that rose-colored glasses, is usually when things are uncomfortable or difficult, usually when an uncomfortable conversation has to happen, I'm like, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. Like, it's total blinders. And I think this card is just reminding me that I don't need to do that anymore. Like, that was a coping strategy that was very important for me for a long time, but I don't need to do that anymore. I have all the strength that I need to face things head on. I don't need to be avoiding or hiding from them. Woof! Bohemian Gothic, you are talking to me. Oops, I bounced the camera. I bumped the camera, which made it bounce. That's what I was trying to say. Oh boy, this is a good one. Oh boy. At what phase of my life were you born? Oh man. Let's see how I handle this, you guys. We will see. 8 of Swords. Sorry. I was looking at it myself and not putting it in the camera. The 8 of Swords. And we have a woman that is bound. And definitely this side of me was born at a time when I did not have power, or I did not feel that I had power or strength. I really felt like my duty was to give in and allow and accept. And there was a certain amount of conscious surrender that was a coping strategy and necessary in my life. And it was at that point that this part of my shadow was definitely born. That is not a surprise to me at all. Ooh, okay. Next position. So this is card number 7. How did you grow? Oh, this is speaking to my shadow self. So how did my shadow self grow? Oh, complacency. So this is totally true. When I first started doing shadow work, it was after a period of time when I was like consciously doing the Page of Cups thing. I was consciously avoiding looking at the difficult or uncomfortable stuff because I was tired. I had come out of a difficult situation and I was in a relationship and I didn't want to deal with anything. I just wanted things to be cozy. I wanted things to be easy, and I was tired. I was just really tired. And in a way, I needed that rest. I needed to just be comfortable for a while. And then there was a point at which the comfort turned into stagnation and turned into allowing negative cycle. And so there was a point at which I was like, okay, the shadow now has gotten so big that I have to address it. That is how my shadow self grew, was through sort of complacency, which to me is the shadow side of the Nine of Pentacles, which is a comfortable card. Like, you've got all the resources you need and things are comfortable, but there's a point at which if you hang out there too long, you miss an opportunity to grow and to evolve. Is this where this one goes? I think so. We might have to stack them up again. Let's see. Nope, that's fine there. It's totally fine in that spot. Okay, so number 8. What lost part of me do you represent? Oh man, this spread actually packs quite a punch, so I am going to be keeping this one in my library of spreads for sure. The Page of Swords. Oh, interesting. So this is going to be I see the Page of Swords as a intellectual and also a confident intellectual. This is the Hermione Granger to me of the tarot. Oh, that's food.
No, it's just starting.
Oh, it's just starting? Okay. Peggy's making us dinner at the same time as I'm filming this. Anyways, so Page of Swords, yeah, so I was saying she's kind of like the Hermione Granger for me. And this position, which I've already forgotten because I got drawn into the card image here. This position is, what lost part of me do you represent? And I think my shadow self always is going to represent the lost personal confidence, I suppose. And I've done a lot to gain that back, and I think I'm in a pretty good place with it overall. But at its core, my shadow self definitely revolves around belief in myself, particularly belief in my intelligence. That's one area where I spent a lot of years when I was younger dumbing myself down. I know that sounds terrible, but dumbing myself down to get by in relationships, different types of relationships, so that I wouldn't weird people out, I guess, or, it was just fear of being left. And so there was a lot of just going with the flow and not getting into any conversations where I would have to put myself out there in a way I wasn't comfortable with. So definitely that is not lost anymore. Like I said, it's more that this was a lost part of me. And I think that definitely is accurate. Okay, 2 more cards left. So the 9th card is what lesson must I learn? And the 10th card is how can I better understand myself through you? So I'm going to put the 9th card here, and that's going to be what can I learn, or what lesson must I learn? And then this is going to be how can I better understand myself through you? So what lesson must I learn? The Emperor. This is no surprise whatsoever. If you watch my tarot memoirs, then you know that when I talked about the Emperor, I talked about shadow in my life. I talked about issues around control and power. So I did not learn healthy examples of control when I was growing up. And so there's a whole lot of ways that control and control issues crop into my life. See previous about, I might have mentioned it in this reading or in a previous spread actually, because I'm filming a few tonight. But there's definitely things around when things don't go according to my plan, and sometimes my plan isn't even something that I'm realizing I have. Like, I'll think things are going to go a certain way and I don't communicate that, and then something derails it and I'm all stressed out because things aren't going according to my plan. So the lesson I really need to learn, really truly need to learn, is to let go of control. I'm sort of pointing at the skulls because what I see in this card is somebody who has amassed a pile of stuff, and these are all things that, things have gone his way, like he's gotten what he wanted when he wanted it, but it's not always going to be that way. And just reminding myself that it's okay to roll with the punches and allow things to shift and change and move. That's definitely a lesson that's going to continue to be ever present in my life, particularly in my shadow work. And the final position here, as a reminder, was how can I better understand myself through you? So through my shadow self. Aw, the 5 of Pentacles. And I was just speaking about this idea of feeling of fear of abandonment or fear of being left alone or sort of deemed unworthy by other people. It's one of the things that I really need to consciously be aware of as I do this YouTube thing, is that people are going to click that thumbs down button, they're going to unsubscribe, all this kind of stuff is going to happen. And I talk about that a little bit in my self-worth on YouTube video, and that's something I'm going to probably be talking more about in as I move forward with this channel. But that's just one small example of how I can be really hung up on other people's approval. And that's what this sort of is saying to me right now, is this person feels like they're shut out, they're left out in the cold. And so to better understand myself through my shadow, I need to be aware that what's driving my fears and my more toxic behavior, my more unhealthy behavior, the stuff that doesn't serve me within the shadow of myself, what is driving that is that fear of being unloved or fear of being abandoned and in some way or left. And if I keep that awareness somewhat at the forefront, that I do struggle with this fear, then I'm able to not do the rose-colored glasses thing like we see with the Page of Cups, to not freeze like we saw here in the Five of Swords, to remember how much love and support I really have around me like we saw in the Ace of Cups, and to pull into my strength. And I think that that's a really important message for me. Wow. This was a really powerful personal spread. I'm definitely keeping the conversation with shadow self. This feels like the kind of spread, like a lot of times in shadow spreads, what happens is that we pull information about our shadow through, but it doesn't feel as fluid. It feels like it feels more fixed. Whereas this feels like it's a conversation about what my shadow self has to tell me right now, like what's present now, and where did things come from, and what can I learn from that. And so I could see whenever I'm dealing with a shadow issue, turning to this spread to really dive into what the central focus or the things I need to think about in that moment are. So sometimes it's going to be the control and the fear here of being left, but sometimes it's going to be about other stuff. And our shadows are multifaceted. We have so many sides to our shadow self, just like we have so many sides to our actual self. But to bring it back to sort of who my shadow self is in this reading, this was really talking about balancing my own needs with that of others. And I think sometimes I get a little la because if I put myself out there, if I extend myself in that way, I might risk disappointing somebody and then they might leave and all of this stuff. So this is really looking at one side or one face of my shadow self. Powerful, powerful stuff, and I will definitely be back to this spread. So thank you so much to DaniMystic for starting this, filming her video and your video, and inspiring me to do this as well. This was a very appropriate reading for me to work on the day of Samhain, and the energetic for me, I mean, I'm pre-filming this before the day of Samhain, but it feels very energetically appropriate to be publishing this video on Samhain. And I'm going to be doing a Samhain ritual actually this year that's going to be diving into some divination, specifically communicating with ancestors and spirits this year. So that should be really powerful. And having this underneath, sort of lying as a foundation beneath my working this week, is feels very empowering, even though it was difficult to look at some of this stuff. But if you were here and you stuck it out to this video, thank you so much. I really enjoyed sharing this with you all. And if you are called to share some thoughts below in the comments, that would be great. I always love hearing what you guys think. Also always love hearing any feedback. I've got a new camera setup I'm playing with, and my camera's on a different style of mount than the tripod I'm usually reaching around, and it's great for me, but I don't know if it's too wobbly for you guys, because it does move a little tiny bit. So if you notice anything like that, or any sound issues or any of that kind of stuff, definitely let me know, because I'm constantly tweaking and trying to improve so that it's really easy for you all to watch. But in the meantime, blessed Samhain, happy Halloween, and I will see you all again very soon. Good night.